really need to get a mic stand. How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. So I just came back from a run not so long ago, and I was debating on taking photos today or not taking photos today, because I'm looking outside and it's sort of cloudy, a little overcast. But I moved into this current apartment that I'm in, which is pretty much located between Chinatown and the Lower East Side of New York. And since I've been here, I haven't really gone out to take street photos. Honestly, I've been kind of slacking with my street photos. I feel like most of the photos I've been taking or posting on Instagram have been just like snapshots while I'm like walking to work or walking to different places and whatnot. And I feel like the quality is not that great lately because I haven't just like dedicated an hour, couple hours a week to going out and hitting like a street photography session. But I think I'm gonna do that today. I am charging my GoPro session, which is not the best quality, but this is the best I have right now. So I'm gonna strap that onto the camera, and I think I'm gonna go out and shoot in Chinatown and get some Chinatown street photography. I'm a little tired, I'm gonna be honest, so I'm gonna grab coffee. I'm not extremely motivated, which is okay. I'm not gonna put too much pressure on myself today. I'm just gonna go out, probably shoot on the 35mm, just to keep it simple. I'll take the 85mm with me as well as like the 15 to 35, but probably keep the 35 on and just see what we can do. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know how long it's gonna be, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy. So normally when I post these POV videos, I just kind of let them play out with some music. This time I am going to come in and do a little bit of a voiceover throughout the video. Not the entire time, but just for a few photos here and there. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and pretty much whenever I'm shooting street photos, the first several shots are always just going to be warm-up shots, really easy stuff. Just trying to get into the swing of things, trying to get used to my environment, and just to kind of get my creative juices flowing. Of course, you did see me throw away some coffee, and that's always gonna help. That's kind of like my tradition. And whenever I go shoot, I definitely need to stop and get some coffee first. So we are in Chinatown here, like I said earlier, and something you're gonna see throughout this video is I am really trying to work on my reflection shooting. These are the first set of reflections that I get, and nothing crazy, not the best shots, but still cool, and I think a good warm-up start for sure. I've been following Faisal Westcott, I think his name is, and I've been watching a lot of his YouTube videos, and he does reflections in almost every single photo, and I think they are sick. So it's definitely something I want to start looking at a lot more. It's not something I'm used to, but definitely something you're going to start seeing me practice more and more. And then just so you guys know, my favorite shots are actually the last set of photos that I took, so I would definitely wait until the end to see those. But here I'm sort of just looking at this car with its, glass reflection, seeing what I can get. And I like how I am in frame here. And something I was trying to do here is kind of make myself really obvious, because I wanted people to kind of look at the car and in turn sort of look at me while I'm shooting it. And I love that photo. I like that she's looking back at me. This guy too. I really like that she was looking back at me while I was taking the photo. It sort of just added like a cool element. And I got one more, and again, the one lady with the black mask is looking directly at me, and I just think it's really interesting. Something you will notice in this video is I am shooting on my GoPro session, and I don't have a chest mount or anything like that, so whenever I turn my camera sideways, I sort of have to rotate the image on Premiere. So if it looks a little awkward, that's why I think I will be investing. The camera quality actually looks pretty good, but I think I'm going to be investing in a chest mount fairly soon, and then eventually also get a GoPro if these videos continue to do well. But I actually really do enjoy filming these. That photo there I actually really liked. I've already posted that one on Instagram. Sort of just like the composition. Nothing like too crazy, but I think again I'm still sort of warming up here, so I'll take shots like those all day. So here I'm coming to a mirror that I see a lot of color in, or a glass that I see a lot of color in, and so something that I also want to do with these reflections is kind of give context to them. So I first shoot, you know, sort of the subject that I'm going to be shooting through in the window. It was just this really nice and pretty red and gold dress with a lot of details. And then you're kind of just going to see me hanging around this corner for a while, just kind of waiting for somebody interesting to walk by. As always, street photography is a waiting game. Overall happy with how those two shots came out, and then I went to the other corner on the other side of this glass slash like store window, and ended up getting some shots here. And you know, again, this is sort of me practicing these sort of reflection shots and kind of figuring out what I want to look for when shooting them, but again, I think these came out pretty good. I think the best part about these is honestly the color. I think the colors on these came out really nice. And a lot of shots like these, I always just try to look for and take, because honestly, they look really good in sets, especially on Instagram. Anything, any subject or object that you can find on the road or on a building or shooting buildings themselves. Sometimes they're not the most fantastic photo, but to sort of give context to a series of photos, I always enjoy posting them together. And then even if you think about it in a photo book and stuff like that, I think they can also look good on a page side by side. This is one of those compositions where I thought was interesting, the sort of bikes in the foreground, a store, red wall. So I was sort of just here for a little bit, waiting for something or someone interesting to walk by, and I think eventually someone does walk by with a like rolling bag that was colorful, and I ended up getting that shot. It's nice, again, still just warming up a little bit, nothing crazy, definitely, you know, postable, and it's definitely a photo worth taking. Here's the guy. And I think about all these photos that I took, the last one's probably my favorite. I think the composition is a little bit more balanced. Since he's pushed all the way to the right, he's kind of walking off frame, which usually I don't like, but in that case, I think it looked pretty good. And then this is a shot that I was pretty happy with. So I just walked by that guy who was sitting down in front of this barber shop. So I went across the street. I saw the light was hitting him in a really cool way. So sort of just went across the street, framed him up with the barber shop, and I took a ton of shots, just trying to get the right exposure because his pants were pretty light, so they were getting overexposed a ton. And I'm super happy with how this photo came out. Really just like the colors as well. that's sort of something with Chinatown. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look for, but I think definitely my favorite thing shooting here is just all the colors. There's a lot of reds, a lot of blues, lots of greens, and everything's very vibrant. And unlike a lot of other areas in New York, you can definitely just get really creative with shooting different colors and just brightening up your photos. And then here's another situation where I'm trying to shoot reflection, and these kind of came out okay. Nothing too crazy. I don't think I really had an interesting subject, but I think I waited for someone to sort of walk in the foreground to kind of give me something to make the frame a little bit more interesting. And it's not too bad, but again, it could have been a lot better. This one I sort of liked, and I wish I maybe could have taken a little bit more time and waited for something more interesting to happen, but I really like these little Buddhas in the window, and just created like a really cool foreground element. So I did my best trying to compose something here, and I think these shots came out okay. But again, I think still just practicing these reflection shots. And then coming up here, again, when you're doing street photography, you always want to be looking ahead, sort of trying to anticipate things. And I was looking at this composition because there was some interesting light, and then I saw this guy walking in that direction with the hat, and I got excited to take this photo, and I think it came out pretty good. I like how his face is hidden. It's dark, it's in the shadows, but then he has this like super bright hat, the red that pops off against the yellow background. I think it came out really nice. And then this shot's interesting. I like that she has this blue face mask that's also hitting the blue stripe in this glass. I like that she's sort of blurred out a little bit, and then there's a lot of contrast between warm and cool tones. Big fan of that one. This is something that I enjoy taking pictures of. Pretty much there's a lot of avenues and streets in New York where if you look along them, you'll see, landmarks being framed up by the boulevards or the streets. And so there's a lot of shots. I took several shots this session where kind of just frame up a building in the background, some leading lines, and I always think they come out pretty cool. Like this shot, I think I could probably go there at a different time of day and get something better, but definitely still a decent shot. And this is one of my favorite shots I took as well. Just really nice contrast. I like the highlight of the umbrella casting a shadow onto the floor. I wish it was a little bit less busy in the background, but overall I think it was an interesting shot, and I also wish he was actually walking towards me instead of away from me, but it is what it is. And then here I switch over to the 85mm. Kind of like this shot. I kind of just took it on a whim and it actually turned out pretty good. And I kind of put on the 85mm and then ended up just walking a ton, trying to warm up with the lens and kind of figure out exactly what shots I wanted to get. And then I came to this glass that was reflecting with these red drapes in the background. And so here I was really trying to get these cool reflections as well and just waiting for someone to walk by who was interesting. I really like these two shots for some reason. There's something about reflection shots that they don't have to be the most the most crisp or the most sharp, and they just kind of have this aesthetic to them that can work out really well. And that's sort of what I'm realizing with a lot of these photos I took. And again, I'm just waiting here. I like this one a lot. I like the foreground being like blurry, the guy in the back on the bike. I just think it's an interesting look. And I'm just sort of here waiting for something interesting, someone interesting to pass by and see what I can get. And I know this video probably feels a little bit long, so if you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. And definitely let me know down below which one of the photos is your favorite photo. My favorite photo is actually the very last 3 photos that I took, so you'll see that at the end of the video. And something I've been doing a lot too in my photos is sort of taking images like this, where I have a subject in the foreground that's in focus, and then I take a photo with the background in focus, just to kind of, again, give more context to the previous image. I just think it's like a cool cinematic look, sort of like doing like a focus pull from the background to the subject, but obviously either photos or not video, so you can't really do the focus pull. And then here, this is interesting. I kind of like the way these photos came out. I just found this really interesting green door with really cool lighting, shadows being casted onto the stairs with the red doorway. And I just thought it was a really good background, a really good frame to shoot. So I waited here for a while, just trying to get the best shots that I could. And I was pretty pissed right there because that lady with the umbrella walked by and I didn't notice. And that actually would have been the perfect subject. I did end up getting a shot of her when she was walking in the other direction. Here it is. Could have been so much better. And then this is definitely my favorite photo of this set. I just like the car driving, casting that reflection, and I like that the lady's face was hidden and her light was highlighted. Her hat was highlighted. I just think it's a very cool look. And I did end up staying and getting one more shot that I also liked. I sort of like this lady's shoes. They're very colorful, so it sort of just pops. Definitely a spot I want to keep in mind because I can definitely do some cool lifestyle portraits there. Some fashion stuff would be interesting to do there. And here's another one of those photos I'm talking about, Empire State Building across the avenue, super far away, and this is on 85mm, and so I like how it looks a little bit compressed, and I like the way these photos turn out a lot, but I always pictured doing those like a 70-200 or 100-500 and really just like compressing the frame. I think it's a really cool thing that I would love to do in the future if I can get my hands on a long lens like that. So we're getting to the end of my shoot and I made my way to Little Italy and I sort of saw this puddle on the floor and I got a little excited. Time to get some reflection photos, and these next sets of photos are definitely my favorites. So I'm just gonna let them play out and talk about them after. Big fan of how those photos came out. I'm gonna let them hang a little bit longer here, but really just happy with how they look. I'm happy that the guy was sort of out of focus and he was dark. It was like really contrasty and just a really cool look, really aesthetic. I ended up taking one more and just turning it to black and white, and I actually like this photo a lot as well. I think the water against the rough concrete or asphalt kind of just creates a really cool texture in the reflection. And so while it may not be the most crisp or the sharpest image, I definitely think it comes out looking really cool. And I'm sort of starting to realize, especially as I dive more deep into a lot of street photographers, I'm starting to realize like the perfect image isn't always the best image. Sometimes having blur, sometimes having grain, sometimes sort of messing up your shot, or at least making it seem like you're messing up your shot, it can actually make for a better image or tell a better story. And that's definitely something I am looking at when I'm shooting reflections. It's going to make your image quote unquote worse because you're shooting a reflection. It's not just, you're not just shooting the subject, but I think it adds a lot more character, it tells a different story. And so I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit long. If you did make it this far, I appreciate it as always. Follow me on Instagram at @thejohnfernandez. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and like the video. And I'm gonna leave links down below. I'm trying to get into the Amazon affiliate program, so then that way I can, maybe start monetizing the channel a little bit, even though I am still very, very small. But I would appreciate it if you could just click on those links, and you don't have to buy anything, but if you just clicked on them, I hope that it would still make a difference. So anyways, I am done. Have a good day, guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.